I mean, I don't mind. I'll take a fine. I don't really care. Ben Taylor was terrible tonight. Just kind of the game up. Nobody's coming to see that. They come to see the players.
We just heard the most candid and real response from Fred VanVleet the other night about NBA officials, and I'm absolutely here for it. It all started with VanVleet getting called for a technical foul by Ben Taylor in the third quarter of their game versus the Clippers, due to him saying to his own teammates, "Let's fight through this BS." But since Taylor thought Fred was talking to him when he said that, handed down the technical. And the hilarious part is, this just happened to the Raptors in their prior game, where Scottie Barnes shouted, "Y'all are cheating," not directed at anyone, kind of just yelling it out loud, with Toronto down 1 late in their game versus Denver. And guess what? This time it was Scott Foster, aka Tim Donaghy's best friend, aka the guy who screwed over Chris Paul, who thought those words were being said at him, which they probably were, but still, it's not like he was saying it to his face. And yeah, decided to give him a tech and eventually eject him from the game. And these two incidences are far from the only alike, as take Spencer Dinwiddie's interaction with another ref, Tony Brothers, where Spence clapping during a game Brothers was officiating was seen by Brothers as some sort of disrespect, even though Spence literally said it was a clap to try and get his teammates' energy up and to pick up the intensity as a squad, something he always does. But because Brothers thought it was at him, called him a bitch MFer, according to Spencer Dinwiddie. And that's not all. Then Brothers was suspended by the league 1 game for firing these expletives at Dinwiddie. And you want to guess what happens that night after the league suspends Brothers? Dinwiddie gets ejected for a simple accidental elbow to Jordan Poole's face, where you literally see Poole and Dinwiddie laugh it off after the play. And like, are we seeing the common thread here? And if not, I'm gonna enlighten you. It's these refs' egos being through the roof and taking advantage of the power that they have. Because to me, it seems like anytime they have a semi-remote excuse to blow that whistle, they do. And this isn't some NBA's rigged, fixed, whatever conspiracy. Rather, that I think the takeaway from this is clearly refs are tired of the players constantly complaining about calls and approaching them, asking why a foul was called or why one wasn't called, etc. And so we're seeing the refs just get annoyed with some players. I mean, every game you watch, how many times do you see a player go up to a ref after a play and ask for a whistle or ask why a foul was called? Almost a multi-time occurrence, maybe more. But do I think that makes it right for the refs to eject and hand out texts to players over the littlest things? Absolutely not, because the harsh reality and blatant truth is, we as fans do not care at all about refs' emotions and feelings on the court. And as messed up as that might sound, that's the job they signed up for. You're not here to be the center of attention or even be of attention at all and make it about you. Like, I don't care if a player were to spit in their face. You as a ref should not go then be able to freak out and get emotional and call all these texts, ejecting the players the fans actually came to see. Okay, maybe that's too crazy, the spitting part, but tell me I'm wrong about the fact that refs have an obligation, in my opinion, to hear the players out when they approach them upset at a call, listen to why they're arguing, and just communicate with them, instead of what a lot of them seem to do and just push the players away when they're trying to talk about a call and then hand him a tech. And I can keep going on and on with these examples. I mean, look no further than Jason Tatum, who's gotten a tech 3 separate times for clapping. Yes, with 2 of them coming in a week span. What about Ja Morant, who got a tech once for making a joke to a ref that the guy was betting on the game because of some of the questionable calls he was making, or the time he got a tech for talking to a fan courtside? And if you look up any star player on YouTube followed by the word tech, you seem to get at least 5 videos from different games for each player. And every single time I watch one of those clips, it's a ref's feelings and emotions getting insulted that punishes the player. I'm sorry, but the only time a player should be getting a tech is if you either get into a physical altercation with a ref or a verbal/physical altercation with an opposing coach or player, and certainly not getting a tech for these really small verbal interactions with refs. Like, a successful referee outing is me as a fan not even recognizing that you were there. So therefore, as harsh as this sounds, we as consumers don't want to and are not interested in knowing that X player got in your feelings and that now you want to punish a product of the sport by ejecting that said player. So the question is, when are refs going to be held accountable for this? I mean, players are held accountable and put on these spotlights all the time for any wrongdoings they have, whether it's simply having a poor shooting night or doing something stupid because they're emotional with something that happened on the floor, etc. And yes, before someone says it, I know we have the 2-minute report, but that does not matter to me, because in honesty, unless Woj posted on Twitter after games, I never read that at all, even for Knicks games, my favorite team if you don't know. And even if I did read it and other NBA fans as well, it doesn't change the outcome of the game still and hasn't seemed to change their behavior at all. Like, I have no problem with a ref missing a call or multiple. It happens. What me and other fans have a problem with is their apparently massive egos and them getting emotional with players. Like, sorry to break it to you, but the job you signed up for is one that makes it okay for players to argue at you, but you personally just gotta take it like a champ and keep it moving. And what if I told you that there's already a professional basketball league that holds their refs accountable, and how they do it is by suspending that said referee for any severe missed calls they make, that being the EuroLeague, where, for example, on this play, Nikola Mirotic, you probably remember that name, hits a game-winning three, it counts and all, or so we thought, because it turns out he actually stepped out of bounds before the shot, but it obviously still counted because it couldn't be reversed after the fact. And because of that missed call, that sideline ref was suspended for 4 games. Now, I don't know if suspending someone that long over a missed call is the right move, but I know what is the right move, and that being to suspend refs anytime they eject a player for a personal interaction with that said player. Because I am so tired of seeing this, and it feels like nowadays that's the only reason players are getting ejected over ridiculous stuff like this. So you want to know why players like Fred VanVleet reach a boiling point with officials? It's because of this, and an unhealthy relationship between the players and refs will only make the product worse. So I beg for the refs, and the players a little too, to get it together, because we ain't trying to see this. But I mean, after all, the refs' time is ticking anyway, as robots will eventually replace them. As Adam Silver recently announced, the league will soon be adding a Hawkeye robotish camera to instantly determine out of bounds and goaltending calls for now, but we obviously know in the future that's going to be everything. So this might not be a problem for long to consider, but for the meantime, guys like Ben Taylor, Scott Foster, Tony Brothers, I want you all to personally know, no hate or animosity, but you all ain't him. And just please stop acting like you're the man in the arena, little bros.